A very good morning to everyone. We have 43 participants who have joined us today for attending this session. As all of you know that the National Institute of Social Defense is a nodal training and research institute in the field of social defense. So social defense covers the entire gamut of activities and programs for the protection of society. It is currently focusing on human resource development in the areas of drug abuse prevention, welfare of senior citizens, vagary prevention, and other social defense issues. NISD has recently launched an online learning management platform, Tapas, and is offering 5 self-paced online certificate courses in the key areas of social defense. There is also an elder helpline number 14567 to resolve the issues of senior citizens. And we have started with the online webinar series these days. And today's topic of our discussion is dietary tips for healthy aging. And resource person for today's session is Dr. Vinod Kumar. Sir is formerly Professor of Medicine and Head Geriatric Clinic, AIMS, New Delhi, Professor and Head of Endocrinology Department of PGI Chandigarh. He is also a member of WHO Expert Advisory Panel on Aging and Health for 10 years, member core group for senior citizen, National Human Rights Commission of India for 8 years. He was also a member National Council for Older Person 1999 to 2004, member of State Council for Senior Citizens 2010 till 2012. Sir is also president of Emeritus Alzheimer and Related Disorders Society of India, Lifetime Achievement Award from All India Institute of Medical Sciences 2021. He is also holding Master's Teacher Award from Indian College of Physicians 2021, Lifetime Achievement Award in Aging from Government of India, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Vayoshreshta Samman Award 2011. He received Lifetime Achievement Award from Jan Seva Foundation 2019, Lifetime Achievement Award from Indian Aging Congress 2004, and Pattern Research Society for Study of Diabetes in India over 9,000 membership. So it is a pleasure as well as a honor to welcome Dr. Vinod amongst all of us. I am sure every one of us will be going to learn dietary tips for healthy aging from Sir. Welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you. My slides are not changing. I don't know why. The slides, can you see the slides?
Sir, we are able to see your present slide, dietary tips for healthy aging from Dr. Vinod Kumar and your designation, sir.
But the slides are not changing. So what to do? Now, this without slideshow, they are changing. Can I start without slideshow? Slideshow.
Hello?
Yes, I can change my slides, but on slideshow, they are not changing.
Like to hear. Like to hear.
Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir, we are able to see your slides.
Okay, I can start then.
Yes, sir.
So as you know, the subject of my talk is dietary tips of healthy aging. And I would be talking about the nutritional aspect, particularly of the old age, as they are aging more and more. And as they are changing, their body also is changing. So nutritional needs are also changing. So it is important for our senior citizens to know what they should eat, what is right eating and what is wrong eating. And before I start my actual presentation, I would like to express that the population of senior citizens is growing very fast all over the world. This is also true of India. And the picture that I am showing at this time is about the projected population between the year 2000 to 2050 with regard to the general population, which is represented by the uppermost bar, which I am calling as total population. So in this 50 years, this population will change from 1008 to 1572 million. That is about 55% increase. But as far as the 60 plus population is concerned, their population is increasing from 76 to 324 million during these 50 years, which is about 325%. And when you come to 80 plus population, their population will increase during these 50 years by as much as 700%. So you can imagine that in time to come, there will be tremendous population of senior citizens, which in fact is a demographic trend, although it is also throwing by the side many other challenges. And one of the challenges that in order to remain fit and healthy, they should have proper nutrition. And this is not only important for the individual to be active, it is also important for the nation as a whole, for the society as a whole, which would always like all of its population, including the population of senior citizens, to be fit and healthy and productive for as long as possible. Now, these are the healthy diet principles, which include that there should be always adequate quantity as well as quality of food that anyone consumes, and that includes elderly people also. For elderly people, it is especially important that they should have adequate calories for adequate energy needs. Neither they should have more than adequate, nor they should have less than adequate. The main principles are that carbohydrates, which is of course an essential component of our food, but they should not be taken in excess because they may change into fat if you take more, and they can, in excess amount, they will be harbinger to many diseases. Carbohydrates can be either complex or can be refined. It is the complex carbohydrates, I would be explaining them little later, that we should take, and we should limit the intake of our refined, that is sugary intake, to some extent, because that is going to be harmful. And as far as the proteins are concerned, I would like to say that many senior citizens, and for that matter, much of the other population also, either because of the lack of awareness of importance of protein or because of the affordability problem, they are not taking adequate protein, which is not good. So we have to stress the fact, particularly for senior citizens, that they should be taking adequate proteins. And I will let you know in some short time what is the importance of these proteins. Intake of vegetable and fruits is very important because they give us antioxidants, they give us vitamins, they give us fiber, and they keep us away from many diseases. And of course, that many people already know that fatty substances, including various fats and oils, butter, ghee, etc., they should only be taken in limited amount and never in excess amount. In addition to these principles, senior citizens must have good water intake. They should remain hydrated. And in brief, they should neither eat more nor less, and they should avoid excess of sugar, salt, as well as of oil. Now, dietary tips of our healthy aging are quite important for old age because the aging body and aging process is accompanied by following changes which can seriously affect sorry, the nutritional status of older individuals. These changes which happen with the aging process can be divided into physical changes, socio-economic changes, psychological changes, and the emergence of various diseases which come with aging of the individual, and for which they have to take many medicines, what we call as polypharmacy. With regard to the physical changes, as the people become older, they become lesser active, their muscle mass becomes lower, they have therefore lesser caloric energy needs when compared to young people. As you become old, their salivation, saliva formation, which is important for digestion, is also reduced. Their digestive power and absorptive power for the food is also becoming less. They have bad teeth many times, they have gum problems, and therefore they have problems of chewing and swallowing the food. And as the age goes up, there is a alteration in the power of taste, power of smell, and even power of vision looking at the color of the various food items. They also have a decreased amount of thirst. They do not feel very thirsty, and in the process, they may not take enough water and they get dehydrated. And because of the decreased thirst and because of many other reasons, in old age, there is also a tendency to constipation. They do not take enough water, they do not do exercise, they do not take a high roughage diet, so they have a tendency to constipation. In addition, they have a inbuilt system of reduced motility of their intestine as their age goes up. Their appetite generally becomes less in old age and sometimes so much less that there is a condition called anorexia of aging. That is, during old age, they sometimes almost stop eating. These are the socioeconomic changes which are experienced by an older person. Loneliness. Loneliness does not give much appetite to a person. He has to be interactive with people, with the society, remain happy, and then he will eat more. And many elderly people, because of the extreme age or because of the limited facilities, they only have access to some monotonous, dull, and easily prepared food. They are also unaware about what proper nutrition is all about. They are also unaware sometimes what are the best cooking methods to make the food nutritive, to make the food tasty and easily digestible. Then I think there is a problem with some senior citizens as they are aging. They have affordability problem. They cannot afford to eat very nutritious food sometimes because of the money problem. And sometimes they are not able to go to the market themselves to select out the good foods, and transportation problem is there. So these are other changes that they experience which ultimately have direct or indirect impact on their dietary intake. These are the psychological changes. Some elderly people, because of various social reasons, they have a feeling of worthlessness to the society, to their family even. Sometimes they suffer from depression, which kills their appetite. Sometimes they feel bereavements in their family, which are also additional social problems, which for some time at least they may kill the appetite. They have memory problems, cognition problems, all indirectly or directly affect their diet, appetite, and nutritional intake. And lastly is about emergence of age-related diseases and polypharmacy. You see, as people become old, they get variety of diseases, as we all know. They are more prone to get diabetes, heart disease, blood pressure, bone weakness, that is osteoporosis, cancer, and other age-related disorders. And they require special dietary advice and prescription for all these kinds of diseases. And many elder person that does not even need properly or does not even comply. He is unable to comply with the doctor's advice, with the dietitian's advice. So this is another problem. And because of so many diseases that if an older person may be harboring, they have to take multiple medications, and some tablets may have to be taken after meals, some on empty stomach. So they have to remember all these things, and this may also interfere in their proper intake of medicine and food. And within the medicines also, if they're taking too many medicine, there might be interaction, there might be digestive problem, there might be constipation due to the medicine intake. So they all affect this dietary intake. So now we come to the core part of this presentation. What is a calorie? Calorie is a unit of energy measurement. And we must remember that after the age of 50, every decade there is a decreased need of caloric intake by about 5%. Therefore, in old age, fewer calories have to provide the same adequate nutrition. You cannot afford to have more calories because your requirements are becoming less. And these lesser number of calories have to give the proper nutrition. The usual calorie requirement is highly variable in 24 hours. In old age, roughly 1500 to 2500 calories are needed. And for precise requirement, one can use a ready-made caloric calculator which takes into account the age, sex, how active he is, what is his height, and what is his weight. and one can easily find out the caloric need of that particular individual in 24 hours. A rough formula to find out the caloric needs is you multiply his body weight in kilogram by 30. If the man is an overweight and he doesn't have much of activity in his life, and you will get. So suppose somebody is 60 kilogram, his calories will become 1800 calories that he is going to require if he is overweight and if he is not having much physical activity. If a person is having moderate activity, you multiply his body weight by 40 and you get the caloric needs in 24 hours. If the weight of an individual is underweight and he is also involved in heavy physical activity, he will require more calories. So you multiply his body weight by 50 and you get his caloric needs in 24 hours. This is another simple formula to calculate daily caloric needs. Step 1 is find the body weight in kilogram. Second step is multiply this weight in kilogram by a factor of 0.9 if it is a case of a woman, or by a factor of 1 if it is a case of a man, and then multiply by 24. And last step is multiply by a factor called lean factor, which is 1 for underweight, 0.95 for normal weight, 0.9 for overweight, and 0.85 for obese. For example, if the weight of a female is 61 kilogram and her lean factor is 0.95, then 61 should be multiplied first by the factor of 0.9, as I said earlier, and then by the factor 24, as I also said earlier, and then by the lean factor, which in this case is 0.95, because she is underweight. And the result will come to 1252 calories per day. So this is another formula to calculate the calorie. Now, what are the basic food components which are necessary for anyone, including old age, and what are their functions? That is, I think, important to understand. So these components are proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. Now, proteins are important for our muscle building, for growth of the body, for repairing the tissue, for healing of the wound, and for immunity and to fight infections. They are also involved in our various enzymes and hormones of our body. Carbohydrates, as I said earlier, they could either be simple or complex. They supply the fuel for body's energy needs. Complex carbohydrates have an advantage having also fiber, vitamins, and minerals. And as I said earlier, it is the complex carbohydrates which are more important than the simple or the refined sugary substances, which should only be limited in amount. The next component is fats. Fats could be either saturated or unsaturated. Their function is to store our energy, protect our organs, and they also help in the absorption of certain vitamins. Here I would like to emphasize that unsaturated fats are important. They are useful for our health. Fats are body or yeah. Is my audio not visible? Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
your audio is not very clear.
Okay.
Just now it is
But
breaking
my
voice.
audio is
Breaking
on.
voice is coming.
Maybe there is some echo going on somewhere. So come to water. Water is also important for all the body functions. Okay, then we come to the next slide. So we are on this slide now. So this is showing the caloric contribution that the various major food components should provide to the human body in old age. The first is proteins, as I said earlier. They should provide about 25% of calories. And the examples of proteins are cheese. The good cheese is that you prepare at home without much fat. Then the whey, then tofu, soya, sprout, milk, eggs, fish, chicken, but not red meat, and legumes like pulses, peanut, green pea, kidney beans, etc. Here I would like to say about something called whey. Whey is the water which you get out of the squeezing of the homemade cheese in a cloth, and whatever water comes down, it is called whey. Whey and paneer are different. Paneer is lot of protein, but it also has fat, even if it is made at home. But whey is fat free. Whey has all the building blocks of protein, which is called amino acid. And intake of whey is also useful. Carbohydrates should provide about 50 to 60% of calories. They are the main sources of energy. And as I said earlier, prefer complex carbohydrates. And the examples of complex carbohydrates are brown rice, whole grains, and biscuits and bread made from whole grain. Then other cereals like oats, millets, lentils, potatoes. And I said earlier and repeat again, limit simple and refined carbohydrates like those containing or made of sugar. Fats should provide 20 to 30% of calories, with saturated fats contributing to only less than 10%. And the common vegetable oils which can be consumed are mustard oil, groundnut oil, olive oil, flaxseed oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, etc. Now this is about vitamins and minerals. Minerals could be major minerals or trace minerals. And the good news is that the healthy diet has got all these vitamins and minerals. If you are having a healthy diet, there is no need to add extra vitamin or mineral supplements from outside. Supplements are only needed if there is a deficiency or if there is any disease state. And the major vitamins and minerals that I am showing in this picture is vitamin C, D, E, and minerals are zinc, calcium, and iron. And these are the sources. On the left side in the bracket, I have mentioned what are the daily requirements of these vitamins and minerals. And the sources are many for all this, and we are often eating many of these things and supplying the vitamins and minerals to our body. Vitamin C, good sources are amla, lemon, orange, bell pepper, shimla mirch, potato, broccoli, tomato, spinach, strawberries, sprouts, etc. Vitamin D is contained in the natural sunlight, so we should be exposed to sunlight at least for some time daily. Then cheese, fortified milk, cereals, bread, egg, and fish are also good sources of vitamin D. Vitamin E is contained in various vegetable oils, green leafy vegetables, whole grains, and nuts. Zinc, calcium, and iron. I have also shown the various substances where it is present in abundance. These are the other minerals, vitamins and minerals. Vitamin A is also important. It's contained in carrot, spinach, pumpkin, sweet potato, and also it is in fortified milk, egg, fish, meat, apricot, etc. Vitamin B, there are 8 types of vitamin B. I have put them together. They are present in green vegetables, fruits, broccoli, fortified grains, milk, cheese, yogurt, egg, tofu, legumes, etc. Vitamin B12, a special word is vitamin B12 is something which is very deficient in vegetarians because it is mainly present in meat substances, in non-vegetarian foods. but it is also present, it is fortified in cereals, it is in also fortified as a part of the breakfast that we are buying, but it is also present to some extent in milk, cheese, poultry, and it is present, of course, in fish and meat. Vitamin K is present in the substances and vegetables that I have enumerated here. Same I would say about minerals like potassium, sodium, selenium, and chromium. I will not go into the detail for the lack of time, but the sources are mentioned in the slide. Now, this is water. Water is also important. One should not think that water is not food. Water is a kind of a food. Adequate water and fluid intake is important because older persons are vulnerable to dehydration due to decreased thirst mechanism in them as the aging goes on. And moreover, there are also certain drugs which, uh, which drive the water out of the body, like diuretics. Diuretics are taken for blood pressure and for swelling of the body sometimes. The dehydration should be recognized earlier on in the family, and the early complaints due to dehydration in an old age person are could be fatigue, dizziness, muscle cramps, and rapid pulse rate, and they should be identified well in time. Apart from water, other liquids can also be taken, including but not limited to fruit juices of various kinds, beverages, milk without or with turmeric, haldi, and herbal teas made with substances like tulsi, cinnamon, dalchini, or black pepper, kali mirch. Now, fiber is another important component which is inbuilt in many vegetable and fibers and in cereals also. And the amount of fiber that one should take daily is about 20 to 25 gram. They are both soluble and insoluble type. And they are, as I said, they are included in complex carbohydrates, vegetable and fruits. And fiber is quite protective against not only simple constipation, but it protects us from colon cancer. It is also good for diabetes, heart disease, obesity, etc. So this is the nutritional summary. So as I said, just to uh, bring home this point again, enough proteins, milk, cheese, legumes, pulses, whey, and non-vegetarian wherever it is applicable. People do not eat protein also because of reason because they give early satiety. They are not very tasty. So it's not very pleasant to eat lot of cheese, for example. So they don't take too much, and but one should take adequate protein, and they are very important for old age, for muscle building, etc. Carbohydrates everybody wants to take because a lot of people are in the young age, at least they are gluttons, they are taking a lot of bread, rice, and they are the reasons for the rice belly, for the pot belly, and all those kinds of things, wheat belly. So one should not take excess carbohydrates, but they have to be taken in the prescribed amount. And the type of carbohydrate that one should take are pasta and starchy foods, potatoes, cereals, etc., and not refined sugars, as I said. Vegetable oils, fats, I have already said that they should be taken in judicious amount. Then hydration, I have already said, it prevents dehydration. And I have also made a comment about water intake, herbal tea intake. Golden milk is the milk with turmeric. Vitamins and minerals I have already alluded to. So that is about summary of the nutrition. Now, another point which is often not talked about in the nutrition is India is home to many spices. Unlike many other countries, particularly Western countries, we have lots of spices and we have lots of herbs, plants, and we also possess excellent culinary skills in our country since time immemorial. Spices, if they are taken in moderation, they are quite health friendly. Although, if you take a spice in excess, they could be harmful because they can produce a lot of stomach ache and they will produce digestive problem. They may even cause diarrhea. Some of them can cause even constipation. So the spices may be taken, but they should be taken cautiously in moderation. And Indian food is generally Indian food is
Started.
generally
Huh?
Started.
No, 11:30 it started.
Indian food is generally containing some of these spices in desirable amount. So on the left side, I have named some common spices, but I would like to comment that spices are not only taste enhancers, but also have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Hence, many are claimed to be anti-aging, anti-cancer, and help protect from infections allergies, heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, dementia, indigestion, etc. Now, this is the last but one slide of this presentation, and I would just like to emphasize a point that there is something much talked about a diet which is called Mediterranean diet. The diet which is taken in the countries near the Mediterranean Sea region. And the Mediterranean diet is universally accepted to be health friendly, particularly in old age, and it protects against the cardiovascular disease, against the cancer, against the dementia, etc. So on the left side of this slide, the components of Mediterranean diets are listed. One is olive oil. They are using olive oil. They are often taking fish because fish has omega fatty acid. They sometimes take chicken, but they don't take meat. Very little amount. Once a week or twice a month they take red meat, not otherwise. And they also include in their diet various kinds of legumes and seafood. In terms of carbohydrate, they are using whole grain. In terms of fruits and vegetables, plenty of fresh ones. And in alcohol, they believe in taking red wine regularly because they think red wine is having a lot of antioxidants, but of course not whiskey and beer. And salt intake they are limiting. Now, what is the Indian version of Mediterranean diet? One can recommend, particularly in old age, to ward off these diseases, to have a healthy old age and prevent all kinds of age-related non-communicable diseases. So I would say for oil and fats, mustard, groundnut, flaxseed, sunflower, nut oil, they all have omega fatty acid and they are cheaper than olive oil. Many people in our country cannot afford olive oil. Now, fish is taken by some people in our country, particularly countries where due on cultural reasons and because of the areas where they live near the sea or near the big rivers, but they are not affordable also for all and they are not culturally acceptable for many in our country. But of course, there are other sources of protein one can recommend, cottage cheese, whey tofu, etc. I have already said. And with regard to carbohydrates, I have again said that brown rice, whole grain, etc. And fruits and vegetables, the problem in our country is that they are little expensive. Particularly fruits are expensive and they are perishable. If you don't eat for next 2-3 days, they become spoiled. So that also adds to the cost. And I think many people are not even aware that fruits and vegetables have health benefits and they should be taken with greater emphasis. So these points are a problem in our country. But I think banana like orange or onions, spinach, shakarkandi, sweet potato, carrot, and broccoli, they can be taken by people, but and people have to be aware. And with regard to alcohol, of course, uh, I don't think that one should be affording a red wine in this country by large masses. And whiskey and beer, of course, not recommended. But they can take fruit juices if they can afford at least mixed fruit juices, if not from pomegranate or cranberry juices like thing. And those people who want to limit their salt, and they should limit their salt, particularly people with high blood pressure, one can use either a lower salt quantity or coupled with some other salt preparation like potassium chloride, not sodium chloride, or Himalayan pink salt, or instead of salt, you can use taste enhancers like lemon, tamarind, spices, herbs, chutneys to lower your salt intake. Then I think this is the last point that I would like to say. Some of the senior citizens and youth often keep hearing that there are some superfoods available in the market, particularly in the international market. And there are 5 foods that I have selected, although there are many, umpteen number of superfoods. Superfoods are generally considered to be very, very nutritious, uh, compacted in dense preparations. And the 5 foods that are internationally well known as superfoods, although we don't know how much fact this has, or they are only fantasy of international marketing gimmicks. But these 5 international foods are chia seeds, quinoa, oats, acai berry, and kale. These are the 5 international foods available often over the counter, and people use it in many Western countries and other countries. But they are expensive. They are expensive. And sometimes some of these preparations, when they are sold, they are artificially ripened, and they are made to travel long distances before they reach the shelf of the malls. So there are five replacements that I am showing here, the Indian replacement. These replacements are cheaper. They are available locally, so they don't have to travel long distances, and they are not so much perishable for that reason. And they are, as I said, they are artificially ripened. And because of their cheapness, and they are equally effective to the international superfoods that I have just enumerated. And the Indian replacements are basil seeds. Basil seeds are tulsi seeds. Amaranth is ragi seeds or ramdana. Also says buckwheat is kuttu ka atta, gooseberry is amla, and beet green is chukandar ke green patte. So these can be used, and they are considered to be having healthy fats, lot of antioxidants, lot of vitamins, and lot of fiber also. So they are health friendly, and they also have phytochemicals. Phytochemicals are colored substances which give deep color to the vegetable and fruits, and they have good smells. So in a way, they are considered to be health friendly. But I'm not recommending for a moment these superfood because they are not always accepted and approved by experts, dietitian experts or doctors and all that. But I thought I will bring this point also to your kind notice. So this is all about that I have to say, and I'm very grateful for your patient listening. And with that, I come to the presentation end, and I would be very much delighted to be engaged in any discussion that we may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful presentation and your expertization in this subject. I would request the participants to please unmute your mics and can ask questions related to today's session. And if they want to share any feedback or want to give any feedback or want to share their own experiences, please go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes. How much consumption of water is necessary for a 75-year-old lady? Because she feels that she has to go to the toilet every now and then. So how much water consumption is necessary?
Well, they should have at least 2 liters of water in a day, and I would suggest that they should not be taking water at the bedtime or at least 1 or 2 hours before going to bedtime. Otherwise, it might cause inconvenience to them. But 2 liters of water is recommended in 24
Okay,
hours.
okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excuse me, can I ask a small doubt?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
What kinds of foods we should avoid for people above 80
Can
plus?
you be a little loud, please?
So though I am my age at 85, can
Yes.
I avoid almonds and other like cashew nuts and other things like walnuts and other things? Can I take it or can I not take it?
Well, you should take it, but I would not recommend cashew nut. I will recommend walnut, and I will recommend almond, and you should not be taking in excess. Maybe 5 to 7 almond daily, and maybe 2 walnuts daily, and not cashew nut at all.
Cashew nut at all, not even small quantities.
No, because cashew nut has got more fat, so I would not recommend.
Oh,
A sleep problem.
I see. So what kinds of foods should be avoided?
Yes, sleep problem.
People having some itching sensation. Persistent itching sensation.
Persistent?
Yeah, persistent itching sensation. That is, I am avoiding brinjals and other. plants like potatoes and other things. So should I avoid any other food?
You have persistent itching. You
Yeah.
said itching.
Yes, sir.
Well, if you have itching, you might be allergic to certain vegetables, certain food items, and by the experience that you have, you should avoid those which are causing these kinds of things, because different people are reacting to different foods in a different way. So there is no ready-made formula for me to tell you which one you should avoid, which you should not avoid. Normally, people are not allergic to any kind of food, but if someone is allergic to food, he already knows to what he is allergic and he should avoid that.
I have been taking about 2.5 to 3 liters of water per day. That includes coffee, then cool drinks, I mean fruit drinks like pomegranate
Can you
juice.
be little loud?
I
Yes,
am
can
taking orange juice and pomegranate juice and other things along with food, I mean other coffee and other things. Comes to nearly more than 2.5 to 3 liters. Is it good or not? Not that good.
Well, these as long as you are tolerating these juices and you are taking in normal amounts, not excessive amount, you can take one half a glass or 1 glass in one day. But juice is not giving you the fiber. For the fiber, you have to take the whole fruit. That is very more important than taking juice. But in order to enhance your intake of fluid, you can also take a glass of a kind of a fruit juice, no problem. But it does not replace the whole fruit.
Because I had a sodium problem. Because
Yes.
because of that I was getting giddiness. So the doctor advised me not to take more water. So I have limited the consumption of water. Of course, in the morning, as soon as I get up for bread, I take 3 glasses of water so that it can detox. I mean, I can be able. It will be able to. It will filter out all the unwanted items and the undigested food. So I think I can continue. Isn't it?
I presume you have the problem of lower salt in your body, which is causing dizziness. That is why
Yes,
the doctor might have told you not to take too much water, because the
Yeah.
salt will further get diluted. So, is that the advice you have been given for this
Yes,
reason?
yes. Doctor advised me not to take more than 1.5 liters to water. So, but I am compelled to take at least 2 liters of water because I always feel I'm thirsty. So, I want to keep myself dehydrated so that I may not feel, thirsty all the time. So is
No,
that,
if you are feeling thirsty, it is a good sign. You have to quench your thirst. You should take the water. But I'm not sure what the doctor has told you. But if your doctor is telling you take less water in order to keep your salt intake proper, so I would not say that you should cut down your water. What you can do, if your excess water intake is diluting the sodium, you could take little extra salt, but do not let the salt go down in your body. And at the same time, while you are taking excess water or whatever water you are taking, you can increase the slight amount of salt with the consultation with doctor.
that's good. That's a good idea that you have done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any particular diet for sleep problem, insomnia?
Well, there is all the diet that I've explained is for uniform health, which also includes a good sleep. But I would suggest for a good sleep, there are 2 or 3 dietary factors that you have to keep in mind. One is that you should not be eating anything for 2 hours before you go to bed, at least 1.5 hours. If you eat food and then within half an hour or soon after that you lie down and you go to sleep, it is going to disturb the sleep. That is number one. Number two, do not take certain substances like coffee, tea, or alcohol at the bedtime, and do not take water also at least for 2 hours before you go to sleep. So these are the precautions that one should take about the diet for a good sleep.
Thank you. Hot milk is okay, yeah? Hot milk.
Yeah, hot milk is okay. Hot milk is okay. And even at the bedtime, a few minutes before, 15-20 minutes before, you can take hot milk. And as I said, you can put a pinch of turmeric there. That is good. That will be good for sleep. That will be good for body aches. And that will be good for general health also.
Many people recommend honey also in milk. That's okay, no?
Well, honey, it is, I don't think from the health point of view, there is something very special about honey with the milk. And if somebody is having diabetes or a high blood sugar, then I would say that honey should best be avoided.
Oh, thank you very much. Very useful talk, doctor.
Can we
Thank
can we take a Chavanapras the morning?
Thank you.
Empty stomach.
But
Excuse me, sir. Can we take Chavanapras? Chavanapras.
well,
Ram-
Chyawanprash is a Ayurvedic preparation recommended by Ayurveda physicians, and there are now Chyawanprash, sugar-free Chyawanprash also. So I think in the prescribed dose by an Ayurvedic physician, there is no harm in taking.
Thank you so much.
Hello,
Yes, please.
sir, that cow ghee can be taken as a fat.
Well, cow ghee is a saturated fat, and you should be taking in limited quantity. And as I said, the total amount of saturated fat should be less than 10%. So in limited amount for certain preparations, one likes to use cow's milk in the family, cow's ghee in the family. So that amount is all right. But oils, etc., which I have enumerated, they should be taken in the desired quantity for routine cooking purposes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hello,
Please.
sir. I am having the tooth problem. All my gums are not there. What type of food I can take, nutrition wise?
I think if you have so much of gum problem, you should be going to your dentist. That is important. Let you be treated for that, and if you can manage to some improvement in your gums and teeth, then
No,
he could also
there's
advise you what you can take.
no gum problem. Chewing is not. I'm not able to chew.
So that
For
must
that,
be that must be because of the problem in the teeth. So you should go to a dentist for that.
no. What kind of food we can take, nutrition wise?
Anything which is soft, anything which is soft. All the food that I have said, you can soften these foods. You can boil them, you can make them softer, and whatever you are able to chew, you can take it. And there are liquids also, I have told you, there are semi-solids also, there are porridges also, there are daliyas also. You can take these kinds of foods also. I do not know whether you are able to eat chapatis or not, you are able to eat soft rice or not. So these you can take, and fruits which are the softer fruit. For example, the apple can be stewed in the cooker. You can use that. So you can take many of these foods if you are having no chewing problem.
Vegetables?
Foods can be taken.
Hmm. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for all your comments or any other.
Sir, can I ask one more question? Hello, sir? Hello?
Yes, please.
Hello, sir?
Yes.
I'm calling from Nagaland, Senior Citizens Home. I want to know what diets should be taken by the diabetic patients.
Okay. Well, diabetic patients have a special prescribed diet which is given, and depending on the weight of the person, depending on the age and the gender of the person, the diet prescription should be according to calories and according to the amount of protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Now, if a person has got diabetes with some complication like heart disease, hypertension, Salt intake has to be more limited. The fatty substances should be taken in limited quantity. And this whole thing has to be converted into the particular items under the breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snack times. This has to be done by the dietitian. So actual dietitian will tell you in what way a layman can take the diet at different meals of the day.
What are the diets you suggest for the breakfast or lunch?
Well, I cannot suggest that diet as a uniform formula for every diabetic patient, because the diet is different for every diabetic patient. So diabetic patient has to be seen by a dietitian, and the diet menu has to be tailored according to that particular individual, his height, his diabetic status, his complication status, his weight, his activity status. So this is all dietitian has to calculate the diet for every patient.
Thank you, sir.
Senior citizens home also has often has a dietitian located there, at least a visiting dietitian. So you can meet that dietitian also. She can prescribe the diet for you.
Okay, sir.
Any other question or any experience that you want to share or any feedback? Although I have shared a link in the chat box regarding the feedback for today's session, you can do that also, and you can unmute your mic and can give feedback for today's session also.
It was very helpful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, thank you for the informative session.
Thank you so much, Vinod sir, for the
Thank you.
wonderful presentation, for the positive information that you shared with all of us. More than 55 participants joined us today for listening this session, sir. So
Okay,
on behalf of National Institute of Social Defense Senior Citizen Division, I would like to extend my gratitude that you took time from your busy schedule and took a session for all of us, sir. And especially for the senior citizen, not only for senior citizens, but also for all of us, sir. Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much, sir. And thank you to all our dear participants who also took time from their valuable schedule, busy schedule, and came out and attended this session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.